I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your profession, first of all.
Okay, I'm Sarah Jarvis, and I'm the Advanced Specialist Eating Disorders Service dietitian for the RISE service. So, seeing adolescents with eating disorders. Um, I've worked for Coventry and Warwickshire Partnership Trust for 5 years now. So, a dietitian works with the science of nutrition and then putting that into a manageable format to help people manage their disease, help prevent disease. But a lot of the work we do is to help them manage the disease. So if I go through a bit about how I kind of got into dietetics and speak about some of the roles I've done, because I suppose working in eating disorders I absolutely love, but it's quite a niche thing. I've specialised into that, whereas dietetics is a really kind of wide profession where you can work in lots of different kind of roles. So I went to Coventry University as well. I was a mature student and I qualified in 2011. So I did the access course at Henley College. Um, I had to do chemistry and biology at kind of A level. So I know at the time you had to have A levels in biology and chemistry. I don't think they always ask for the chemistry now. So what might help some people, because chemistry's not the easiest subject to study. So when I did the degree, it was a 4-year degree. But since they've started kind of charging for the fees, they've changed it to it's a 3-year degree now. So yeah, so I did that and I did 3 placements while I was on that degree. And my last placement was at UHCW. Um, and that's where I got my first um, post when I qualified. They offered me a job from after my placement. So that was really good. So I was a band 5 dietitian then, um, covering adults. So I would cover adult wards. So some of the wards I might have covered were like the elderly ward. So you've got people not managing really much food, losing weight, so they might need kind of supplementation to help them. So giving them kind of special little sip feeds. We'd see people with strokes, so maybe if they've had a stroke, that then they can't swallow for a time, so then they have to be tube fed, or then they're learning to eat again and have to have different textures. So we'd see people like that. um I used to do outpatient clinics, so I'd see people to help them lose weight, help them gain weight if they had celiac disease, if they had an allergy to something, lots of different things. So you would work with them to give them a diet to meet their nutritional needs, and make their kind of life as comfortable as possible. So after doing that for a couple of years, I then specialised and became a paediatric dietitian. So I was the paediatric diabetes dietitian. So that was for all children that were diagnosed in Coventry and Warwickshire, mainly with type 1 diabetes. So it would be managing their diet. So they have to give the right amount of insulin for the amount of carbohydrate they eat. So teaching people how to carbohydrate count, healthy eating to keep their diabetes kind of safe. Um, I covered the children's ward, so I would see children with special needs, children with cancer that needed support with nutrition support, tube feeds, people that had come in with allergies, people that had just been diagnosed with diabetes, all kinds of different things. And I did outpatient clinics for babies that had milk intolerance, so they might have to have a special diet and need some help with weaning. um, Failure to thrive if you're not growing well enough, and they're not growing properly on their centile charts, looking at ways to build them up. So it's vast, the what it covers. So when I worked there, I covered the adolescent ward as well as the children's ward, and I would see um, adolescents with eating disorders that were admitted that were particularly poorly, and I paid an interest in that, and I got asked by Coventry and Warwickshire Partnership Trust to apply for their dietitian post when I met them on the ward. So that's how I got into it. So now I've really found what I love doing, working with eating disorders. Um, so like I say, it is specialised. It's very much working in part of a multidisciplinary team. So as a dietitian, you don't just see someone on your own with an eating disorder because it is a mental health condition. So I work with psychologists, psychiatrists, nurses, other therapists, doctors. Um, so we're very much of a team that work together and make team decisions, what I do like. So a day for me, I'm involved in assessing new people that come in, so to decide, have they got anorexia nervosa, bulimia, binge eating disorders. They're the three things that um, we're commissioned to see. So I help in assess and diagnose them. Then I do a dietary assessment, so looking at everything right back from when they were a baby, how did they grow, so I would know what I'd expect them to kind of be now, so I can see, say, if someone's particularly underweight, how underweight they are. And then it's about working with them to build a meal plan. For instance, if it was someone that's very underweight with anorexia, working with them with a meal plan with foods that feel safe for them to get them back up to a restored weight in the best way possible, but meeting their nutritional requirements. Um, what else do I do? I supervise other dietitians. So I've got another dietitian that works for me, and there's another dietitian at the Aspen Centre. So I supervise her. Obviously, CPD is quite important. So because it's such a broad subject, dietetics, you've got to keep up to date because I don't just see people with eating disorders. They might have other things going on. They might have allergies, they might have celiac disease or diabetes or whatever. So you've got to be able to manage the other conditions alongside. So it's important to stay up to date. Um, and I
Why
do
would you
quite
recommend? Oh, sorry,
sorry.
Sarah. I was going to ask you, why would you recommend dietetics to somebody else?
Well, what I love about my current role and what I love actually about dietetics and working with children is you see them get better. Your input, you see them, you really make a difference. So working with someone with an eating disorder, to see them come out the other side and be able to go out for meals with friends and family and be back in normal life, I find really rewarding. And I'd find that really rewarding on um, working on the children's ward, that your input makes them makes them better. And yeah, I mean, I love it. I would recommend it. And that's the new thing I'm working on now for this year, is to start taking dietetic students in in my service. So whether it would be part of a bigger project with UHCW, but yeah, because I was lucky enough to do on my A placement, I got to visit an eating disorders unit, and I think that sparked my interest. So I think, yeah, we need more dietitians coming into eating disorders. So that's the next thing I'm looking at doing.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your passion. We can definitely hear it.